Hannah. Hannah's a little bit emotional. She's done this before. Hannah, how old are you? 10 years old. And what grade are you in at school? Grade 7, good.
In the world of international adoption, there may be no more tragic story than that of Hannah Williams, who lived near Seattle, Washington. The young girl was adopted to this country from Ethiopia in 2008 when she was 10 years old. But on May 11, 2011, Hannah was found dead in her backyard. She had bruises on her body where she had been beaten, but that's not what killed her. Hannah's parents had starved her to death. They were convicted and sentenced for the crime. The mother was put away for 37 years and the father for 28. Hannah's adoption was facilitated by AAI, Adoption Advocates International. While that agency helped bring thousands of children here from around the world, it shut down after Hannah's story came to light. The agency was based in the Seattle area and was one of the first in the U.S. to put through adoptions of Ethiopian children. But there is another adoption tale involving children brought here by AAI that some adoption experts say is equally as stunning as Hannah's story. Some of these adoptees have ended up homeless. One of them is Belanish Hain.
It just made me feel like I'm this horrible kid nobody wants. That's how I felt like. One thing that I always wanted was a parent, somebody who could be a mother figure to me.
And Miss Rock and Stella and Amanel and Tom.
I always say that I am a mother to many, not T-O-O, but T-O.
Belanish is the adopted daughter of Richard and Julia Hain. Their desire to help children has been featured on local newscasts that say they have 28 adopted children, most of them from Ethiopia.
I'm Abraham.
And people say, oh, it's such a great thing you do. And I say, oh, no, it's such a great thing I get to do. It is so wonderful.
People think she's this perfect mom who brings these orphan kids. It's not like that. People think she's like a Mother Teresa, but she's not.
The children say life at home was very different than it appeared to the outside world.
The hitting went a lot, and they try to be very sneaky about it. There's some days I don't feel safe at the house, a lot of days, because, out of nowhere she'll come and you don't know whether she's in a good mood or not. And she just takes her anger out on me.
Several people called Child Protective Services on Belanish's behalf, including a teacher who recalled Belanish trembling anytime she mentioned her adoptive mother's name. Belanish tried to run away from home on many occasions, and eventually, at age 15, her mother left her at a homeless shelter.
It just felt like I wasn't wanted by her, so thanks. Basically, she just gave me away to them.
The one place that Belanish found refuge from her adoptive family is a small Ethiopian church where she confided in the pastor.
These are children with no voice. I have to do what I have to do. And it was sad because the very family that brought them here was the one that was victimizing them.
Pastor Baranu insisted that we meet an older brother whose situation is even worse. He lives in Everett, a city in the suburbs of Seattle that has one of the highest crime rates in the state.
It's basically my belonging. There's a blanket. That's my friend's backpack.
This is Abe Hain, Belanish's older brother. He sleeps here every night, next to a busy highway along with many of the city's drug addicts.
I don't feel safe sleeping on the street, but it's what I can do right now.
Abe is 23 years old, and he's been homeless for the past year.
On the street. I walk a lot. Think a lot. I worry a lot. My head just spins. I get migraine like constantly. My chest, my neck. My whole body, I can't stand. It's just weak.
He comes to a cemetery for peace and quiet and to escape the stress of life on the streets. How did Abe get here? That's him in the news clip from 2009. It's been a long and complicated road, but Abe says life with the Haynes was hell.
My dad would sit on top of my sister and just, pull her hair back, and my mom would smack her around. And yeah, I wish I would have done some, because she means a lot to me. That's my youngest sister.
One day, Abe says, he called 911, and after that, he says his relationship with his adoptive mother went downhill. Several months later, she accused him of having sex with an adopted sister.
Well, this happened. I was getting ready to go to school. I was in the shower, and my dad knocked on the door and saying, the cops want to talk to you. And I said, okay. So I dressed up, and I'm about to go to school. I'm junior in high school. So I go upstairs. The first thing the cop told me was, you touch your sister inappropriate. That's what he told me.
Abe admitted that he touched her breasts and behind, but insisted they never had sex. The two were not biologically related at the time he was 17 and she was 14.
He's not a criminal. I have seen bad kids. And as a 17-year-old boy, staying in a house where there are about 30 children taking care of themselves with no parents around, if young men, young girls are staying there, things like this happen.
There was no physical evidence linking him to the crime. But Abe says he was scared of going to prison for a long time, so he pled guilty to a lesser charge.
I didn't know what's going on. I had a public attender saying this is what I could do, and she told me sign this paper and everything will be all right. So I don't know what's going on. I signed the paper.
Abe was charged as an adult and served 14 months in prison. When he got out, he had nowhere to turn. He now had a criminal record and was a registered sex offender. His only option was sleeping on the streets.
When an adoption is going awry and a family is trying to figure out what they're going to do, they will oftentimes discover that doing a voluntary relinquishment of the child into, say, foster care will sometimes require that they pay child support or have an expense of some kind. Conversely, if they make a criminal allegation against the child for assault or some other kind of misconduct, there's no expense attached to that. So making an allegation, especially of sexual misconduct, has become sort of a hot button way to make everything go away, because immediately the child is either in the juvenile justice system or the criminal justice system. There's no expense involved, and it's over. And I've seen it used as a technique over and over again.
No one has accused the Haynes of using this tactic to get rid of their children, but we reached out to Julia and Richard Hayne for comment. They declined, but the local precinct had a lot to show us. Police reports from the Hayne house total 130 pages. Everything from alleged beatings to suicide attempts and, quote, child currently locked by deadbolt in their room with plywood covering the windows. Maureen flatly believes that the Haynes' multiple adoptions should never have been allowed.
How much supervision were those kids getting? You have kids that certainly in a family like that don't have any biological connection to each other. So they're not thinking brother and sister, they're just thinking boy and girl. And now the young man who was accused of the activity is a convicted sex offender, is, effectively homeless, and probably really didn't have a clear understanding of what was going on. So You know, is it really fair that he's been cast out the way he has?
I feel like, why is this happening to me? You know, I lost my family. I came here. I got discharged, and now I'm on the street, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. It's just what I'm going through. No one should be ever going through.
When I goes there and I see him, it tears me up because it's not him. That's not his character. It just hurts me because I know who he is, and it hurts a lot to see him going through that, sleeping on the street. Oh, I worry a lot, like what if somebody hurts him one day, you know?
He's a lot different than the way he used to be. He used to have more spirit. He used to be one of the best soccer players at Woodway. And now seeing him the way he is, I'm like, what's my future going to be like? So.
And you still have the same address?
Yeah, just put a number of the after the beat.
Samuel Hain is 17 years old.
Yeah.
I need to have references.
The children say he will become the 9th adopted child to get kicked out of the Hain house.
Sometimes I go at night, then there's a park by our house. I sleep there because maybe I might be homeless and I want to get the feeling of how that feels like, you know. And that's about it. I don't know what the future is going to hold for me, and if being homeless is one of the things, and I want to be prepared, you know. I like being prepared for what's coming up.
Samuel was also adopted from Ethiopia and grew up in the Hain household with Belanish and Abe. He has been living in an apartment on his own that his adoptive mother rents for him. But in 3 weeks, he will turn 18, and after that, his mother will cut him off.
I feel angry that with so many resources, so much wealthy people around here, nobody looks into the kids who are actually getting adopted and, you know, what happens to their life, you know, so.
Belanish is now 21. While she's not on the street, she does not have a permanent home and moves from house to house.
Be careful, baby.
She often stays with her older sister Mimi and her 2 children.
Really strong.
Mimi was also kicked out of the Hain house.
To adopt 30 children, bring them over to the United States and turn them loose on the street and have them, this is sad. This should be stopped. No government should allow this to happen. And this is not acceptable. This is inhuman.
All I want was my mom and dad. That's all I needed. I just want to go back to my country and die in my country. I don't want to die in somebody's country. I don't know why I came here. I had everything. I was free. I was happy back when I was. And now my life is, I guess, I don't have none. I give up.